Recording.
Wait, we're live though, right?
We are
Yes,
live.
we are.
Remember,
Hold on. Let me get all of my things open.
tap your microphones, Elsie. Uh, Now your microphone's not on.
What?
Oh, la 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 la.
This
Ho, ho,
isn't
ho,
on?
ho.
Not if you're like. I don't hear that. I don't hear you tapping on it.
Ho, ho, ho,
Can you hear
ho.
it? Jess, do you hear it?
Now it's not your
No,
right
but I hear
microphone.
you.
I hear you must be coming through your computer mic.
Yeah, that's yeah. I didn't notice until he said that, but yeah, it doesn't sound clean. It sounds like you're
Hold on.
just on Zoom or whatever.
Now
Perfect.
I'm on.
Yes.
Oh, there's those golden tones.
There's the buttermilk.
Hello, everybody.
I don't know where that I just came out of that out of nowhere.
Hello.
Hi,
All right, we're on.
Lena.
We're on a tight schedule.
Lena is in the
We got to
house.
corral you guys in. We got to get recording because
All
we
right,
don't.
hold on one second. Yeah, we do. Hold up, yo. I'm trying to get the preferences set for this thing. Okay, we have
Warm it
that
up,
going
Chris.
on.
Yeah, I'm about to. Warm it up, Chris. Yeah, I'm about to. You know, I wish there was so much 90s hip hop that I could do with you, Elsie. If you only came
Yep,
outside
nope,
your bubble just a few times in college, then I would have so much
nope.
more to
I have
more
no
songs to play with. But no, alas,
Idea.
it was an
She's like Melissa.
endless.
Melissa's got a good voice. She just won't use it.
what?
It's like no, but her also her knowledge of songs is minimal. It's like
Oh,
Elsie fed her head with like an endless supply of global techno until
What is global? I
she
don't even know
felt
what that is. What is global
it's like
techno?
world beat.
Okay.
Am I wrong? I don't know. I could be wrong.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it's a little bit
I
boots and pants
loved,
and a little bit
I was raised,
whoa,
listen,
whoa.
I know and loved and used to binge on like salsa and cumbia and boleros and Luis Miguel and like
Mhm.
all of the Latin pop in the 80s and 90s. Rock
Lovely.
in Espanol when it first started, that's what I used to listen to. So it doesn't matter. That's what I was listening to at that time. Like nobody knew what I was
Right.
singing.
Right.
So
But now that I want to sing fun things and make references, you don't know diddles.
no, I don't. I don't know
You
anything.
you can't do
And
like
I'm
all
if
right.
I
okay with
say
that.
hold on, like
Happy
if I
Easter,
say
Lena.
crisscross will make you do you know the rest of
Go
that?
Jump back.
boom.
Is it jump back?
Jump,
Chris,
jump,
jump. I thought it was jump back.
jump.
See?
Patty Mac will wake you jump, jump.
Don't, don't.
Crisscross will
I
make
know
you jump,
some of
jump.
those songs because they used to play them when we were in high school.
The
Yeah,
thing with
right. You're a little
crisscross
older
is
than
they
me.
put
You're
their
right. High
clothes on
school.
backwards.
You're
Remember they
right.
used to put their clothes on backwards, their pants and shirts on back.
Yes.
All
I
right,
wish they
y'all.
were button ups. All right, yeah.
We have to go. We have to start.
I'm ready. Here we
I'm
go. We
ready.
ready to
I'm
go?
waiting
All
Okay,
right,
I'm
here we
ready
go.
too. I'm ready.
for you.
Three, 2, 1. Press record. All right, Elsie, say hello.
Hello.
Jess, say hello.
Hello.
Okay, we ready to
All
go?
right.
We're gonna hit the music, right? Here we go.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to episode 308 podcast brought to you by myself, Jessica Kupferman, my co-host, the endlessly energetic Elsie Escobar, and the ever jamming John Jamingo. How are you guys
Oh
doing
my
today?
gosh.
Good.
Pretty good. Pretty good. I've
So I
decided
wanted
to
to say
oh, go ahead. You go.
sorry. I wanted to say thank you to everyone who reached out to me in the last week. Apparently, I did a lot of more personal revealing than I guess I have normally because I got a lot of advice and
Oh,
relating about therapy and needing therapy and trolls. And for those of you who reached out to me about that, I just wanted to say thank you. It means a lot to me that you would take the time to reach out when you listen and just say, I hear you, or just something positive to me. That was really sweet. So thank you very much. I just want to say thanks. go ahead, Elsie.
Yeah, I know that's really good. I'm glad that you did. I'm glad that folks listened
Right.
through. That was really the note that I gave to John after we finished that episode. I was like, cut the fluff. Let's get to Jess talking because that's the most important part of this plate of this entire episode here. I mean, recording in bed was also very intriguing, I think, for our the folks that were like watching us because it was,
Yeah.
but if you're listening, you had no idea where we were or what was doing because John
Totally.
did such a fantastic job with the edit. But
As he does.
yep. And he did.
Yeah,
He
so
cleaned it up really well, made it succinct to the point. So yeah, it was a good show. It was a good show.
I did have my first therapy appointment on Friday, and I'd
Yay!
love to tell you that I'm cured, but that's not how it works.
Dude, that's not the way
So,
it works.
So like I had my first one, it was just the intake where I tell her, why I'm there. She also
Right.
asked why therapy hasn't worked in the past, and I said it's hokum. No, I'm kidding. I basically said because most therapists want to life coach you and sort of do this whole like, you know what you should try? Exercise and meditation. But like I want to know why am I doing this? Because I feel like that's the one thing I've never gotten from a therapist. Just like, well, your father was very interested in television and therefore you are a performer, But
So your therapist is Zsa Zsa Gabor?
no, that was me being Freud.
Oh, that's just yeah.
Sound
But is
like
that
Did
no?
that not
Are you
play
saying
out?
are you saying that that's what you want, or are you saying that's
I
what they've
want
said?
that. No,
Okay.
I want more than a life coach. I want more than someone holding me accountable for eating good food. I want to know why I'm always trying to pick a major. I want to know why I'm, if I emotionally eat, why I do that. I want to know, I want to know what
Okay.
exactly the things in my life have actually done to my psyche and how I can, because how can you go forward if you don't understand the behind.
Right. But I think
So
I mean I'm all in agreement with you, but I don't think that. I guess my question for you is that there is an element of being able to look at the life and get an insight as a therapist or somebody who has I get a lot of insights about people when it comes to
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then if you spell it out for them, my personal experience is that it doesn't matter if they're not ready to hear the truth, they're not ready. And that is internal pain, and it's also external pain. And if I were to just say it in terms of like the external pain, I used to have yoga clients that used to come to me and pay me like a premium rate to do one-on-one sessions with them. And I would walk them through how to get out of pain of their body. Like I would literally say, move your right shoulder up 2 inches. You have to
Yeah.
take it back. You have to really and I'd spend and they would pay me premium cash to do it. And then they would come to my public classes and they would do nothing that I said. And then I broke up with them and I was like, I cannot, in all consciousness, continue to
Yeah.
tell you how to get out of pain if you're choosing not to listen to anything I'm saying.
So in similar fashion, what
What's
I
up,
want
Leslie?
is someone to tell me how to get out of pain, but it holds more clout for me once I know why my shoulder hurts. Like I don't want someone to be like, "Oh, your shoulder hurts. You know what you should try? Rotating it with circles."
Oh,
And
right,
then I'm
right,
like,
right.
"Okay, that's
Are you
kind of how I
are you
feel
ready for
therapy goes."
right? Right.
Yes, I think
Okay.
yes. I mean, I actually have always. I'm just the kind of person that's always ready for that. I don't want. First of all, I question everything. So unless
Right.
I have a good reason to or not to do something, I will do what I want. So I need someone to be like, you can't do this, and here's why: because you specifically have an issue with scissors or whatever, you
Right.
can't cut anything because you have a scissor issue. Like I just want to not that sounded gross, but you know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Yeah. No, it didn't sound gross. I
forcing
mean,
it.
it's like I get it.
Well,
Yeah.
scissoring is something else. Yeah. So
I have no idea what it is. So anyway, go.
cool. Let's get past it then. Those
Yes.
of you who are listening, have a giggle and let's move on. Okay.
Well, Yeah. Nope. Like there's a couple of things too that I noticed about that. And also when it comes to, as we've been, mind you, again, I have not been properly diagnosed with ADHD. I have an
Yeah.
understanding of the possibility that that's the case for me and for May. Right. And so what I have noticed with her is that every time she has to do homework, she will destroy the eraser on her pencil. Like
Oh my God,
she
Nathan
cannot
used to do the same exact
she
thing.
cannot stop it, right? So
He
our
broke the-
general understanding of people doing that would be to get really angry at her and just be like, will you just stop it? And like I initially would get so mad because she would destroy pencils. She would
Yes,
just
he
destroy
would
them.
break his pencil.
Yeah,
He had no
like
pencil sharpener. I was like, you son of a bitch.
it's
wait, that's me.
insane.
But you son of
It's
yeah,
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she continues to do that. She will like, take them apart. She'll chew the ends of them. She'll do like
maddening.
all of these things and she destroys all these stuff. And then as I've been doing a lot of research, that's actually part of her brain. Like she literally
Why?
cannot at times stop herself to do that. So she has to be
Why? What is that?
but it's just part of the brain. It's part of the ADHD brain
But
to
I'm
be able to
saying,
spell.
can she destroy something she doesn't need for homework?
Well,
though? Like that's my question.
Here's the thing. And so in fact, I would challenge anybody who's out there to like search for ADHD eraser or pencil destruction or tools.
Oh my
And there are
God!
actual little tools that come up of the thing that you can do to put at the end of pencil so that you mitigate the problem with these
Wow.
external things, which was like mind blowing to me. Right. And so
Yeah.
part of it is my understanding of the process and knowing and teaching her how to be able to manage herself so that she doesn't do that. I'm not giving her an excuse for it, but it means that I need to be more engaged with her to provide her with tools so that she can manage herself. That's what we're trying to get to.
Yeah.
But right now she's destroying all the things. So I have to step little steps
So
in front of
funny.
her to do that. Right.
I
So
didn't even-
I'm just saying to you that even if somebody says that, like you have to be like you have to first see it and then you have to internalize it. And it's the internal part that is the hardest part of this thing.
Yes.
To be able to not hear, but hear, right? I'm pointing
Yeah.
to my head and my solar plexus,
For me,
if anybody's
for
watching.
me though, some of that is both. Like when my kids were being bullied, which wasn't that often, especially for Emily, but she had a couple girls that were mean to her, and she would come home and be like, "This person was terrible and called me this and showed me that and tried to hit me and is out to get me and planning my murder." And I'd be like, "Isn't this the girl that lives with her grandmother because her dad's like a drug addict and her mom is like, died or something?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Well, what do you expect? This is why." And she goes, "I don't care why." Like she would be so mad at me. And I was like, well, this makes perfect sense. How do you expect to have a friendship with somebody whose home life is destroyed? And then it made, and then I felt better, but like
Right.
I wasn't helping her solve any problems, but I want to know why people are the way they are, because to me, it helps set expectations. So I guess that's what I'm looking for. I want us to help set expectations for my own self.
Right. And I think, at least for me, I've been, starting to move into fitness a little bit more here, a little bit at a time. We can go into why I like what the path to that has been, which has been, again, it's been it's been a huge challenge because again, my brain gets so caught up with small things and it's really hard to break patterns. So in doing that, I've had to really actively be like, to really know to understand what my patterns are. I am insanely competitive, like really badly. So all of my life, I've gone through, like, one of the reasons I'm such a champion of other folks that are like, in the way that I reached out to you when you were doing podcasting school for women, and the way that I'm like, there's enough room for all of us. Like, to me, I recognize my initial, like what my initial thing is, and then I actively counteract it so that and then it feels great. But when it comes to like personal things, like when it's about me and about my body, like I usually go all in. Like I fight for it. I'm like, I'll be number one. I'll be the hardest runner. I will be the thing that does it. I will push my body to the thing. And like when I was in my 20s, I was fine. I was in shape. I'd always been an athlete. But then now that I'm like, going to be 50 soon, I have to be like the hardest
Yeah, like,
part
who do
is
you
for me
think
to
you
be like,
are?
no. Yeah. Like I have to be like, nope, I will not push myself that hard. I will not, like, I have to stop. And then I have to address my own competitive nature, which is all the things right now. I will do 50,000 workouts. I will burn all the calories. I will start lifting and I will start, and it's like, oh my God, chill
God,
out,
you're
girl.
a psycho. You're a psycho.
I'm a psycho. And
Oh my
it's,
God.
yeah, I'm super like, so I have to just chill out, let it go. It's all right
Yeah.
if you didn't finish the class, or it's all right if you didn't go to the pace, or it's because my body is so weak,
Yeah. You're
that I
like a
can't.
human noodle.
Yeah. And so but again, it's like seeing it in my face. Like every time I'm like, nope, nope. Like it's a constant, nope, 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 not competitive, no competitive, no. Like it's like a total constant thing. So,
I'm
I don't
gonna
know.
work
It's like,
hard. Whatever I choose to become fit or do for fun that's exercise and healthy, I just have to work hard not to talk myself out of why I shouldn't be doing it. Because
right,
usually it's like even with working out, I'm like, I can't do it because I have to drop off Isaac and then I'll work out and then I'll be sweaty and I have calls all day. Like I'll talk myself out of anything if I don't, and that's just stupid. I get really
right,
caught up in like why I can or can't do something that day, and I just have to do it and not think about it.
right. I have
Yeah.
like that something that I teach that I learned a lot from yoga a lot. And I tell my e-leaguers all the time is like, when does your nature become your asset? And when is your nature your liability?
So
And
far, I
that's,
only know the answer to the last one. I can't
and
answer the first one at all.
yeah, and well, that's what I'm saying. It's like when you start to see that, then you can see that behavior, to me, that competitive behavior is a liability for me. My introversion is a liability for me a lot of different times. So I have to see like every situation to see when is these things that naturally come to me an asset to my life, and when is it a liability to everything that I do. And I
Yeah.
challenge myself with that, but then part of it is not, you don't like just go, oh, I shouldn't be doing that. But you actually have to then go against it. You get that
Yeah.
feeling of
Yeah.
like what you're saying, you're making an excuse.
Yeah.
Then how do you get through it? And Doctora Carmen, you can go talk to Doctora Carmen. She'd be so great with you, Jazz. Or,
Doctora.
I shouldn't tell her
Sí.
because it's like, that's like, that would be, we're talking
No
therapy
pressure at all.
Doctora. I love to say her name. Doctora Carmen. Carmen Roman.
Doctora. Got it.
Doctora
Yes, but
Carmen.
when you say it like that, you make it sound like she's in a telenovela.
Well, she's not. She knows she's not.
But you're just
very
very dramatic. Doctora novela. Doctora Carmen.
Doctora Carmen Roman. Yeah, so we were talking therapy. That's right up your alley. So just
Yeah.
wanted to let you know. Anyway,
Okay.
so
yeah.
if anybody has any tips for either one of us, hey, we are open. But alas, here's the thing. It would be amazing if you sent them over to feedback@shepodcast.com so that we can talk about them on the show. That would be awesome. So
Yes.
that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
And now, how about we
Now-
move into some podcasting news?
The news you can use for the informed podcaster. Podcasting news. Before we get started, just to let you know, Elsie will be at Podcast Movement University Thursday, 2 p.m. Is that this Thursday?
This
before they
Thursday.
listen to
So
this
those of
now?
you who are listening might be I actually don't know how it works. Like I guess if you're in Podcast Movement University, maybe you can see the replay.
Yeah. She's going to be
Um,
talking about top 3 community building tips, which is something you need to hear from Elsie because she is the master of this, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
And
okay.
Onward we go.
Okay. IAB. First of all, well, I don't know if I should do that or not. I know we have limited time today, but I just wanted you to know that I looked at these articles and I decided that if we're going to report on industry news, I have to
uh-huh.
one of whoever is in charge of that article has to somehow relate it to independent podcasters because
Oh, right.
otherwise
Okay, good.
we're I just want to make an effort. Like if I'm going to talk about the IAB, I need to tell them why it's important and vice versa.
Okay,
Because I
good
feel like we
call. I think
report
that will I'm cool with
I
that.
feel like we report on like stuff that has no bearing on us, and then it's like, well, yeah. All right. So anyway, the IAB announced the 2021 podcast upfront schedule, which is a diverse lineup featuring over 24 established and new podcast
Dun, da,
networks.
da,
So
dun.
yeah, so
And
the
new.
IAB to start is the Internet Advertising Bureau, and they put on Upfront, which is an in-person gathering of people who are selling advertising and people who are buying advertising. And Upfront this is not new. The word upfront, they do television upfronts all the time. They do them twice a year for spring lineups and fall lineups of television. And so whoever was smart, decided they would do one for podcasting. It started about 4 years, started a few years ago. I think it was 2018 or 2017 was the first one. I can't remember. But I went to the first couple. And anyway, this year they're going to be doing one May 11th through the 13th, convening traditional and digital agency buyers, planners, creatives, and brand marketers to both educate and evangelize the power of podcasts to reach consumers. So what happens is they have these beautiful presentations. They stand up on a stage. They tell you all about podcast advertising, why it's powerful, why it's great, why, it's the best thing since sliced bread. And then they have presentations from each network. Some of the networks that are going to be presenting that you might know, ESPN, iHeartMedia, Sony Music Entertainment, Viacom CBS, Wondery, and Amazon Music, because now they're the same. Art 19, Westwood One, WNYC, NPR. Oh, Libsyn is presenting this year. That's interesting. Slate, Stitcher, Ads.
Advertise cast.
Yes. Great. Advertise cast. So the reason why it's exciting to have an upfront is because after the upfront, hopefully we get quite a slew of information about why podcast advertising is effective. And when I go, I like taking down all these notes because these networks are full of little tidbits of information. Like last year, like CBS is a great example of this. They have the power to look at their TV advertising and their podcast advertising and say, looks like we spend $3 million here and we get this much ROI, but we spend 100,000 here and we make 300,000. Like they can measure which things are most effective, sort of, and then tell us which ones are the most effective. They actually are very tricky, both in how they present themselves and how they present the data, at least in my experience, because like one time ESPN did some math and figured that since they have, let's say, 1 million downloads, that they are responsible for 30% of all podcast listens, which is all fine and good if you're only counting 4 networks. If
Oh,
you're
right. Okay.
counting
Yeah.
large, right.
Right.
So, it's kind of like PodTrack. Like PodTrack is like, these are the top 50, shows, which is great. Out of the 50 shows they're counting, like they don't count independent show. You have to register your show to be with PodTrack. Therefore, the number is sort of happening. So yeah, but I still think the data is pretty, besides them patting themselves on the back, I like to see the data that says podcast advertising is more effective because X, or people say they'd rather buy something from Adam Carolla than, our than the Big Bang Theory. Like that's the kind of stuff that's interesting to me and you, because when you're selling sponsors on your show, this is the kind of data that helps you explain to sponsors who maybe haven't done podcast advertising before that it's worth their time, money, and investment. So the upfronts are kind of a big deal. The fact that they have 3 days worth of presentations is kind of a big deal because that means it's growing enormously. When I was there, it was 1 day, maybe half a day of presentations. So it
Right.
looks like they've got a larger lineup, which is great. And so that's coming up in May. So we'll have to report back if we hear anything crazy about some of the data that comes out of that because it's helpful for us as well.
I'm also curious about, like, we were talking about, yeah, it's growing because it's like more days, but I'm also wondering if it has to do with the fact that maybe they're not going to go like in a big chunk. Is that how, what that was your experience when you attended? Did you go to like and sat in the stadium, in the wherever it was being presented for
Yes.
like 5-6 hours straight, or
Yes,
how
it
did
was
it?
it was the Time Warner building, and it started at 9, and then we had X, Y, and Z. Then they broke for lunch. Then they had A, B, and C, and then they hired some famous person to DJ with Shaquille O'Neal, and then everyone left. But yeah, it was like a 1-day thing, and that was for years. So I mean, and
Yeah, I wonder
Libsyn's
if it's
I don't think they've ever presented before, and not every network would present every time. So like
right.
there were times when iHeart would present one year and then they wouldn't be on the roster next year because maybe they didn't have anything new. But like back then, they
Right.
weren't developing at such a hot top speed as they are now. So that's
Yeah, I
something
think
too.
that it probably has. There is also the element of having to do, because they're doing both. They're doing like, I believe they're doing obviously virtual, a lot of the stuff virtual, but they're also doing, I think, components that are stagey kind of. I'm not sure how
Yeah,
stagey it is, but kind of,
yeah.
sort of.
I bet you they're just
So
doing I mean, it doesn't say where it is. Um,
I
so
think
maybe
it's,
it's all virtual, but I would be surprised if they just got everyone in a room.
yeah, no, I don't think that it's going to be. No, I think that there's an element of presentation, but I'm just not like, I don't know if it's going to be like a presentation, the way that WWDC, like the main developer conference for Apple, how they have like presentations from all the developers from all over the world, and they're really highly produced, and they do a keynote and they do that whole thing, or if it's going to
Mhm.
be like, faces, like in a Zoom room.
Yeah, I would
Like,
hope
I don't
it's the
know.
first one. The
I don't know.
first one was
So,
so the first year I went, that actually was like they had the celebrity podcast hosts do the presentation. First the
right.
celeb would come out, and then after that they would have the, head of whatever come out and explain all the data. But the first part was both boring and ineffective because celebrity podcast hosts
Yeah.
don't know or care who's
About
buying their
podcasting.
show and why.
Yeah.
No, yes,
Oh,
but
they
the
care about that?
idea no, but the idea is to sell advertising, and it's going to be hard to care about advertising when you're Katie Couric and and you have your own television show. Like they're just there because some producer said it would be a good idea and hope it works out. Like she can't go up there and be like, podcasting is the number one source of anything because she just walks in, turns on a mic, walks out.
Right. And
So it
then,
ended up being
well,
like, why are you here again? And some of them were even like, I don't know who was it. I think it was even Chris. Who's the guy that used to do the Goat Boy?
I don't know, dude.
On Saturday Night Live. Oh God, Jim Brewer. Jim Brewer
Oh,
was there one time, and he was like, "To be honest with you, I don't even know why I'm here." He said,
oh gosh. Well, there
"I
you have
enjoyed
it.
that
Well,
moment immensely."
yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
Yeah. But now, like,
yeah,
leading into that, like, that lets us go into like the next
yeah,
bit of news, which was that Libsyn
yeah,
announces agreement to acquire AdvertiseCast and raise 25 million in new equity commitments.
amazing.
So that is big news coming from Liberated Syndication. And part of this is just that this isn't going to be like sort of like you get sucked into the larger thing. AdvertiseCast is going to continue being Advertise Cast. It's sort of like, I don't know, we talked about this way back when this happened, but Libsyn also acquired Pair Networks, which is a web hosting company where they have, it's like they have their own team, they have their own thing happening, they have their own office, they have their own clients, they have their own onboarding, they have all of those things that are happening separately. We work together occasionally, but it's a completely separate business. And that's sort of what Advertise Cast is. And, stay tuned for developments as things start to open up in terms of the Libsyn 5 platform being developed and possible integration with Advertise Cast at some point. But anybody who is working with Advertise Cast currently, it's not like you have to move to Libsyn or anything. You do your thing, you do that, and there you have it.
And there you have it.
And there you have it. And that is it. And that is it for the end. If you have any questions, you can listen to our upcoming episode of the feed. Actually, it will be out by the time that this happens. I believe it's episode 190 of the feed. And I'll put it in the show notes in case y'all want to listen to some of those things coming directly from the Libsyn podcast. Also, this is something that I really love, and I challenge everybody that listens to this podcast to participate. I think this is like one of the best, most exciting initiatives that Podchaser had. They started last year and it worked really well. And I'm hoping that this is gonna happen even better. It is the initiative called #Reviews4Good, which is with the number 4, Reviews for Good. And Libsyn is actually they're going to be able to match anytime that you leave a review to a Libsyn hosted podcast, 25 cents of that goes to Meals on Wheels. And also, if you comment on a review, that also counts. Mind you, Libsyn is not the only one. I'm just saying, if you have a Libsyn comment, like, you don't have to, Buzzsprout is doing the same thing. There's like 4 or 5 other companies that are participating this year. So everybody is going to be matching that. And like the $25 are going to be, 25 cents for every review. So if you have a podcast, regardless of where it's hosted, either ask your people for reviews on Podchaser, and every review is going to then give 25 cents to Meals on Wheels. So I am super excited about this. And also, if you want to just make money for Meals on Wheels, go review a bunch of shows that you love. This is the time for you to do it. Just being altruistic. You really don't have to do anything out of your own pocket. All you have to do is love on those that you love, and you'll be making money for them. So it's really good. I love it.
Not to go back to the original topic, but one of the side effects of ADHD can sometimes be oversensitivity to taste, sound, smell, touch, etc. And I'm having an issue right now where I'm using different earbuds, and I feel like they're stabbing my ears with hay. It's so itchy. I can't stop it from itching.
I'm
It's
so
making
sorry.
me crazy. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. All right.
Okay.
That's all you need to know. Just I needed you to know why I'm like rah, 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 for those of you who are watching live. Okay. So next up is we have this one, that one. Entercom rebrands to, I'm gonna spell it first. AUDACY. So the end of it is AC, like Lacey, and the beginning is odd, like audio. So I'm gonna go with Audacy. But it
Or
could be Odyssey, but then it's not ODYSS. ODYSSEY is Odyssey. AUDACITY is Audacity. So this is Odyssey, Audacy, Audacy. Just stop it. Just if you're going to name your company something, could you just have some umlauts or something over the letters so we know what's happening? Anyway, I love the word umlau. That should be the name of a company. Just call it umlau. It's perfect.
Yeah. You know what? It's like it's either all of these companies that are naming things like all, or
Mhm.
they're naming their companies like somebody else's named their company exactly the same, and they're
Yes.
not even searching. It's like it's when podcasters are like, you know what? I'm gonna have a show about podcasting. It's just gonna be
What?
interviews with podcasters.
Yeah.
And then they're
Yeah.
like, I think I just thought of the best idea ever. And you're like, oh my God, really? So, but
So
anyway, I'm
yeah.
just, and it's like you get that idea and then you don't even bother to go search.
Yes. So
But
like pod
alas,
science, pod corn,
yes,
podacity, pod
Podacity.
mayhem.
Hey, that probably would have been better. Podacity.
Podacity. Yeah, I've never seen that one, but there's a lot of podcasts, somethings, and it's hard to keep track of it all. And it's not only that, but when you do that, it's hard for the consumer to remember which thing
Which
you do.
Yes, and
Like,
then
why will
we already have
people
a yeah, yeah.
why will people think Audacy and Audacity aren't the same thing?
Or Odyssey, yeah, or Odyssey, whatever. And then
Or
there's also
Odyssey.
Audition. We are
Oh
already
my god, yes.
interspersing. Like when I say Audition or Audacity, I'm trying to explain to somebody, and sometimes I'm like, it's not Audacity, it's
Yeah.
it's the other one, and that's all I
Yeah.
say because I forget.
Yeah. So anyway,
Forget the other one.
Audacy, as they're hopefully being called, is now the conglomeration of Cadence 13, Pineapple Street Media, and the ad network Podcorn. They're going to keep expanding. So Cadence 13, I don't remember what shows they do. And Pineapple Street, I don't remember what shows they do. I only know that they're owned by Jenna Weiss Berman because she was one of the first podcasts, women owned podcast networks.
Mhm.
They're looking to expand, they're rebranding, and they're announcing a new podcast partnership with Demi Lovato, a partnership with BET MGM to create content around sports betting, and a plan to debut new original shows on its listening app, which used to be radio.com, the
Right,
radio.com app.
right.
So,
So yeah. Yes,
go
it's
ahead.
like if you think about this though, but this is like when you mentioned those three companies, that's just like one small thing. Entercom is like the big
Yeah.
one that's right. And then there's radio.com that had the large letters, like not the large, like not like what is it? Capital
Yeah.
letters. So the way that it was branded, it was always like radio, screaming, radio. It was all capital letters. Radio.com was
Right.
also its own, like that was its own thing. So all of this is now coming together into Odyssey,
Mhm.
whatever. Come, like, yeah.
Right.
Anyway,
So it
so
looks like Cadence 13 has the Rachel Hollis podcast. They have Pod Save America, Pod is a Woman, um, Happier with
all the
Gretchen
pods.
Rubin, Straight Up. Yeah, I'm just trying to see like what stuff you would know on their network. That's honestly, that's pretty much it, I think. Still going. But I'm pretty sure this audience, that's pretty much all that you know. And then Pineapple Street has, let's see. So it's funny because Cadence 13, it does have on their website, they're the Netflix of podcasting, which I thought was very
Oh,
interesting.
all
Because they're
right
not.
then. How many of those
Okay,
are
so
there
Pineapple
too?
Street has what Netflix is of all of them are,
Yes, I
obviously.
know.
I don't see anything on Missing from Richard Simmons. That's one of the ones we talked
Oh,
about.
that's
Missing by
right.
Richard Simmons is on Pineapple
That's
Street.
right. That was so famous.
Let's see. There's a bunch of TV ones. So Stranger Things podcast, a Lovecraft County or Country Radio. Um, gee,
Gee.
uh, I mean, the Women of the Hour show with Lena Dunham. We've talked about that one but lots of shows, lots of good shows. And then Podcorn, I actually really like Podcorn. I don't know if I'm sad or happy about this because Podcorn, I put our show on there and then they're always
Mhm.
sending me like new advertisers that come in. So it'll be like once a week I get a list of weird vitamin companies or
Right.
mattress owners that like would like to advertise on my website. I never do anything or on our show. I never really do anything about it because every time I look, what it looks like they're always doing CPM. But I do check. So I don't know. If I were you guys and you're listening to this, sign up for Podcorn just to see what happens because they do send you sponsorship information about shows that might be willing to sponsor your show. I was planning on using it to see if we could find sponsors for the event, to be honest with you, because I
Mm.
thought here's a whole, like here's a whole lot of you want to
Yeah,
get
I
in front
think
of
they have
podcasters.
I mean, they have like the infrastructure to be able to provide all the things
Yeah,
for that. Mind you, I
exactly.
do believe that they do a lot of I may be wrong. Please, because as you know, I despise anything related to advertising and podcasting as it industry, not she podcast related. I am a huge fan of any kind of sponsorship we get for the show because we do it our way. And I really believe in partnership and partnering with brands and doing fun things and making sure that everybody's like, so it's a different whole entire culture to sponsor She Podcast as a brand. So I'm not talking about that. I am also not poo-pooing sponsorship. I dislike terribly
Right.
talking about it in the industry, like advertising and sponsorship in the podcasting industry as it stands is possibly, I just can't handle it. It's so boring to me. So given that, I think that Podcorn uses a lot of dynamic ad insertion technology. And
Oh, I don't
so
even know. Do they? I don't even know if they do.
I think that, yeah, not that they are moving. It's not like they are using it. I'm saying
They try to
they
get us to
often
use
run
it.
campaigns
Mhm.
that are these type of campaigns. So
Mhm.
they do a lot of like, this is going to be great because a lot of those companies that are creating going to be great for them. I'm not saying great for everybody, but great for them because a lot of the podcasts are hosted in a specific place. And I think, Entercom owns, I don't know, is it Acast? And I think a lot of the shows that, from Cadence 13 and Pineapple Street Media
Mhm.
are hosted with
Mhm.
that one host and so it's the whole infrastructure, right? Which is easier for most people to be able to deal with all of that stuff. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's exciting. Ha. Ha.
It is. Okay.
All right.
Um,
No, but now moving on
I
to
think
this.
I
This is
failed at
actually, I'm just
explaining why
going to,
this was
yeah, I'm going to talk about this really quickly just for y'all to keep an eye out.
Yes,
So
please do.
uh,
Very exciting.
we've been talking a lot about, iOS 14.5 and the change in the podcast app, with the language from subscribe to follow. So that's for the podcasting industry. That's been like a thing. That's the conversation that we're having. But actually, the other huge thing about iOS 14.5 is that Apple is putting out like this pretty hefty privacy update to that entire OS. And it is called, who knew? It is called ATT, or not properly called ATT. I think it has it in here in this article when I read it. It's called the App Tracking Transparency Framework. App Tracking Transparency, Network. So what that means is, and it already actually, you know what, Jess, it already kind of started to happen, at least from Facebook and Instagram, where you open in iOS and it gives you this thing where it says Apple is updating their privacy policy and you're going to have to opt into being tracked. And then it like shows you have to acknowledge and say, yes, I want you to track me.
Mhm.
And then it breaks it all down. Like, I have access to your this and to that thing and to this other thing and to this thing and to that thing and that thing and this thing and the other thing. And so you either pick or you pick by whichever ones you want, or it says just decline it. And then if you decline it, it says, but if you decline it, we won't be able to give you the best advertising that we could possibly give you because we won't know what you're doing.
Right.
So
Right.
anyway, this is coming. And so a lot of apps are being rejected because it's not just apps like Facebook, but there are many apps out there that are tracking you in ways that you didn't even know nor need to have being tracked. Just keeping an eye out on this because it is going to be a larger conversation from now on. It is something that a lot of companies, particularly companies that were built on mining all that data and grabbing people's data in order to provide sometimes a service around that data somewhere else, are having to figure out how they're going to survive now, because either they're going to not be accepted to the App Store, or they're going to have that tracking turned off, which is like essentially their livelihood, and or have to amend and create a different app or something different for those apps in order for them to be accepted. Anyway, I'm only going to let that, we won't know what it is or what implications in our life we get in our life because of iOS 14.5 until it's released, which I don't know when. I don't know
Any
when
day
it
now,
happens.
everyone's freaking out about it.
All the people. So, Jess, this is a part of a discussion that I wanted to bring to the table for She Podcast. And I thought this is a good idea. And I really kind of want to test it out. I found this on the internet, of course. It is called Podcasts and Pencils, a lunchtime coloring break. And this was something I came out, it's like a random library that had this thing. And the entire, and so I only put it in here as the idea, okay? As the idea. But all it is you just set up a Zoom, like it's a Zoom call. You pick a podcast to listen to, and you color together. So
I think it's the smartest thing in the world. It sounds so much fun, doesn't it?
I really dig it.
Do you want to do it?
I totally dig it. Yeah, let's do it. We can totally do it.
can do
Mind you, how fun would it be? Okay, so I mean, I am so in love with this idea to just like have it in my ears, or even just to be together listening to the same episode and then just coloring. Like we don't have to talk. I mean, we can laugh and like engage or whatever. But just the fact that you get to just go listen to a show and color, and that's it. I think it's fun.
Yeah. It is.
So
I think it's so fun. And you get to, I mean, honestly, it's probably one of the few things that would actually have me listen to a podcast, because I'd be sitting in one place, but I'd be doing something else. And
right?
That is the key, I think.
Yes, that is the key.
Yeah.
And also, which makes me think, Jessica Kupferman, I wonder if we should have a She Podcast coloring book or coloring pages.
Yes, we should.
Yeah!
I can totally do that.
Right?
I can totally do that. Yeah, I can
Oh my
totally
God.
do that.
We can just have coloring pages that we pass out, like, you know, and then you like send them out and you can print them out. And of course, you know, if people really love them, we can even like have them or sell them, or even have them be part of the baggie if somebody can like sponsor that for She Podcast Live. I think it would be fantastic.
Yes.
We can
I think that
have-
would be great. I love that idea. Yay.
Yay. Anyway, I just think it's fantastic. I would like to see if there's a way for us to, like, I would want it to be like funnish. Like, I'm not sure I would want it to be too like learny. You know what I mean?
Not too
Like,
learning.
not too learny. Like, I'm not sure I want to go deep into some like hardcore topic. Like, I'd have to think about like the kind of vibe we want, or maybe it's just like we'll pick the podcast and then you'll know what you're showing up for. So if like you don't want to listen to that episode or whatever, or that one specific show, then you don't show up to color. But if you're really into it, you do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I love that. I think that's great. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
so that would be
Do
look.
it. I can totally put one together. I already have ideas as to what we could do.
Oh, so John says that as long as you're not recording during the podcast, that he'd be cool with that.
Aw.
That's
Okay.
John.
Alright.
Mama. All right. Okay, moving on. We're gonna be wrapping it up here soon, but let's see. Oh, I wanted to let you all know, whoever is in the house, either right now or maybe later. I just put this in here, but there is a Futuro Media Group is looking for a senior producer, which is Futuro Media Group is a company that I adore. I love what they're doing. I would love to work for them. They are so fantastic. And it is so Futuro Unidad Hinojosa is a unit of Futuro Media dedicated to producing special projects and investigative journalism. And they're seeking an experienced audio producer / journalist to work as a senior producer with our senior correspondent, Maria Hinojosa. Oh my God! If I like love,
I know,
if
you
I was an audio
love
producer,
her.
I would be like on this. So it would be amazing. Would love to work with her. Anyway, Maria Hinojosa
Yeah.
is somebody that I just adore and I love, and I just think she's the amazing. Like she's like, oh my God, like I'm so like, oh. So if this makes you happy, and if you think that this is the ideal thing for job for you, the link is in the show notes. Looks like a
That's
great
great.
gig.
You are an audio producer.
No,
And now
dude, not like
you-
this. No.
You could
Not
absolutely
like
do
this.
this job. You could do this job. I know you can.
Not like this.
Yes.
I'm
you
not
could.
sure I'm willing to commit. See, I'm not willing to
Oh,
commit.
you're not.
Like,
Okay.
I'm
You
also
can
not
do
a journalist.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't commit. Like, I don't.
Okay.
I have
That's
other
two
things I'm
different things.
doing.
You are
Right.
qualified to do this job. You just don't
Right.
think you can
Yes.
commit to that. Two different things.
Yeah, I can't commit to.
She's
no,
right. She
So.
can't. She's right.
I can't.
But it would
Yeah,
be
no.
amazing if she could.
Yeah, but I just
I
can't
feel
commit to it.
dream.
But alas, it is there for those of you who would want it. And I think that I'm gonna just to share this last. Do you have anything else that you want to wrap up with? Because these last two little things I have in here, I'm letting it up because we just have a few more minutes.
No, and my doorbell keeps ringing and it's distracting me. So no, I don't really. I mean, other than actually, no, I did want to talk about the thing you were just on YouTube.
Oh,
I love
the YouTube. Oh yeah. Do it.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
So
okay,
you go.
So Elsie found this article that I just absolutely love. Yeah, YouTube is starting to experiment with hiding dislikes to protect YouTube creators' well-being. So I am not sure. I wasn't at first sure why this was news because I know that like a lot of kids channels don't allow comments at all because they don't want their kids being bullied and, et cetera and so forth. So now they've announced they're experimenting with hiding dislikes to discourage dislike mobs from deliberately downloading videos from creators and channels because you can ruin someone's career. The experiment is a different implementation than the solutions they previously discussed, but it's similar to attempts that platforms like Instagram have taken to nip targeted attacks in the bud. So that's the goal. It isn't exactly to protect their well-being, but more to protect them from being, like digitally ruined, I think, because
Right.
it actually is in their best interest because those people are money makers for YouTube as well.
Mhm.
So if an angry mob decides, for example, that they all hate Rachel Hollis and they start downvoting all of her videos, no one will see her content, and then she won't be able to make as much money for YouTube as she previously did. So
Right. But also,
they're
I
looking
think that the thing with a lot of these things is that it is like a mob thing. It's where
it is.
I'm cool when it comes to appropriate responses to content that needs to be addressed, or you need to highlight certain things that are perhaps not working, right? Or that they're being evil or horrible human beings in some way, shape, or form that is absolutely 100% not acceptable. But what I feel tends to happen with a lot of creators nowadays, it is that that what we have known as, that cancel culture that comes around. And part of it is that there's a lot of people who get on board with like either their friends like, you need to go down like this, and you're like, okay, for sure, I'll do it. And there is no participation nor knowledge from a lot of people. They're just like jumping on a bandwagon, and it continues to a place that is really, really unhelpful. Now, one of the reasons that I really like this though is, looking at which is actually connected to independent podcasters and their obsession with stats.
Yeah.
Where it's like we have set outside parameters or data points that somehow trigger good feelings or bad feelings in us that may or may not be the appropriate data points, but we have deemed them to be so. And I think that dislike button or like all of those things that we might see on videos, like even when you're looking at something that you posted on Facebook or something, and then somebody puts an angry face, then you only look at the person who did the angry face. Why did that person? And that might totally mess your day up. Right?
True. It's true.
I think that we have this weird relationship that now is completely outside the norm of reality. Like, why does that even matter? So I think that this is an interesting communication or conversation.
Because it's not different than finding a note on the floor of the high school gym that says, "I hate Jessica," which never happened to me, by the way. But I'm just saying, it's the same. It feels the same to us.
It feels the same. Yeah, but mind you, there was not like, could you imagine if like you walk down the hallway and all of the pieces of paper, it was like thousands of pieces of paper that said "I hate Jessica" on there, like thousands upon thousands versus
I'm
one.
aware. That's why I think it's in some ways it's good, but on the other hand, people will say, "Oh, they're squelching freedom of speech," but they're not. They're just squelching on their own platform. You can say you hate someone anywhere you want.
Yep. But I think
not
it's
not
in their place. Correcto.
Right. Not on
Hey,
there.
we have Patrick Keller who's wondering how you're doing, Jess. Maybe we can close out the show today by giving us a heads up.
I'm a little pukey, but I'm good. I'm okay. Mentally, I guess if you're referring to that from last week, I'm better, I think.
I think it was a text I sent. It was a text that I sent that you weren't feeling so good.
Oh, yeah. No, everyone in this house is sort of a little down. I don't know why. I'm going after this recording to get my first vaccine. Eee! I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh, you're already feeling nauseous and now you're going to go get it.
No, I mean, think that's unrelated. No.
No, I know
but,
it's unrelated, but that's what I'm saying. That it's
I
like,
know, I'm already. I mean, doesn't that make it a good thing though? If I'm not feeling well, to just go ahead and full hog, not feel well for a couple days, and then hopefully, feel better. Like I don't want to, do it on day when I feel great. I guess so. It all works out.
Yeah. So that's good. Good for you.
Vaccine. Super exciting.
Woohoo!
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening today. I know Elsie has to go. Go ahead, finish.
No. I was just going to say at least half of She Podcast will be vaccinated. We're working on it on this side of things as well.
Yeah,
but that'll be really awesome.
But yeah. I'm excited. So thank you guys so much for listening. You can find us on shepodcast.com, all the show notes, etc. And then you can find us on social at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at She Podcasts. Please send us some feedback. Let us know what you think about all the things at feedback. Feedback at shepodcast.com. Don't forget to text us if you're feeling sassy today. The number is 302-240-3425, or you can text us at my.community.com/shepodcast and say hello to Miss Elsie Escobar. Thank you guys so much for listening. We love you.
Mean it.
Bye.
All right, we can stop recording. Hey, how cool
All right,
is it
stop
now that
recording.
I don't have to be in the room. I don't have to be there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You can hear me. Before I had to be in there, but now you don't. They
That's
StreamYard
That's
did
great.
something. It is great. You don't have to see my ugly mug anymore. Fantastic.
Well, I would
I'm
miss
all
it.
for it.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm
That's
all-
really, I mean, that's really cool. I like that because there's times when I've also wanted to like managing things on StreamYard. It would be so much easier because then I could just be behind the scenes, welcoming people and
Correct.
seeing everybody and not have to be on. Like you could just come in and out. That's amazing. So,
It is
Yep.
amazing.
They just keep getting better and better. That StreamYard loves them.
well, now
Yeah.
they got all the money.
All right. Say goodbye,
Yeah.
everybody, because
Yeah, Mama's gotta
Bye,
go.
everybody.